Have you ever had a time in your life when you were so distraught that you felt like you couldn't even breathe? Well, I've been there. And I think that most people who've lived any time at all, you've been there too. When the pressure was just at such a place that you just couldn't hardly stand it, and just couldn't sometimes even get yourself up out of the bed in the morning. And I remember a time in my life when I'd gotten out of the Navy and couldn't find a job, and I'd find myself getting depressed and lying on the couch and just moaning and groaning and just complaining to God. And until finally God got a hold of me and said, "Get up off the couch and go visit the hospitals, visit the sick people." And when I did that, my fortunes began to change because I got my mind off myself and I began to focus on the needs of other people. But see, all of that is a part of the learning curve and how we grow and we mature because we have those down times. And God is preparing us for greatness. And you say, "Well, Pastor King, define greatness for me." It's whatever God has called you to do. Some people might think that what Mother Teresa did wasn't great because she lived a very poor and humble life. And she went to those garbage dumps and she fed children. And people say, "Well, that's greatness?" Well, I think in the eyes of God, it certainly is. There's a lot of people who are doing very humble things, but they're great in the eyes of God because they have dedicated their lives to other people, and they found their purpose in life, and they're following that. Well, God had destined young David to be the king of Israel and to lead his people and lead God's people. And I believe that it's very possible that when he was anointed to be the king at a very, very early age, that he might have thought, well, it'll be tomorrow. But no, that's not the way God works. And the truth of the matter is that when you look ahead, after the life of David, he died, and his son Solomon took over. And then you see his grandson, who came into the place of the king, very young, very immature, made some very tragic decisions that caused the kingdom to split, senseless wars that took place after that. Because I believe that he came into this position of power without any seasoning. He had not been seasoned. You see, God took David through a process of seasoning to bring him to that place that when he actually put the crown on his head, he'd been through a lot of things, been through a lot of suffering, been through a lot of challenges in his life. All things that God will use to grow and mature a person to be able to do the work that he's destined to do. So I would say this, don't despise God's chastening. Don't despise those times of pressure that God will put upon you. And just understand this, that as Peter would say, or has said, the trying of your faith is more precious than silver and gold. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.